Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about The Haunting Hour, Season 4, Episode 9, Spores. So, this is an alright episode. This should have been a two-parter because it has a great ending to it. However, the problem is everything else in the episode is just kind of whatever, you know what I'm saying? Now, a lot of people really love this episode and they think it's really scary. I do not. I'm a fan of The Haunting Hour. I'm a fan of Goosebumps. But it's kind of like, I've seen other episodes that have a lot more stuff going on in them and a whole lot more spookier stuff. And one really good twist ending isn't enough for me to praise this episode and say it's great. Now, you can find this on YouTube to watch. And despite what a lot of comments say, no, this was not like the inspiration for The Last of Us. The Last of Us video game came out in 2013. This episode came out in 2014. It just takes a couple of seconds to Google something, people. But anyways, no. So yes, The Last of Us came out first. But anyways, this is a really interesting episode and stuff. And I really wish they would have had more to this episode because it could have been really great and really scary and stuff. But this really should have been a two-parter. And if it wasn't going to be a two-parter, they should have took out all the family bickering. Because for the majority of this episode, that's all it is. It's just family interaction, family bickering, and then you get to the good stuff towards the end. Now, this reminds me of an episode of Creeped Out, where there's a bunch of girl campers and they're out in the woods and some purple thing goes inside their ear and turned them into this mindless zombie alien type thing. A heck of a lot more happened in that episode than this episode. And that's really embarrassing. Because Creeped Out was just an okay horror teen show and it only lasted for 2 seasons. And so, I truly believe what I've been saying before is when, I feel like The Haunting Hour, the first season might have been a little too spooky for kids that be all like, okay, this is R.L. Stine, but it's not as silly as R.L. Stine Goosebumps show. And it's a little bit more freakier. And I believe parents just were not happy with it, which caused a significant shift towards the other seasons, especially season 4. Because episodes will either start off really good or end very flat, or start off very flat and end very well. Also, there are some things in this episode that just don't make no sense. And it needed better writing. And it had 2 writers to it, so that's no excuse. So, basically, this episode has to do with a family camping out in the woods. They had a year-end reservation, and they can't get their money refunded. The dad is adamant about hiking and showing off because it's something about his other employees that he works with. They're the better hikers and he want to prove that he is. So he's very stubborn about that. So he drags his family along. His family consists of his wife, his 2 twin kids, Jack and Jacqueline, and that of the youngest son, Melvin, who's dressed like Where's Waldo. And Melvin is the only one who does not want to be outside. He's scared of everything, bugs, animals, you name it. And so you had the 2 twins who kind of pick on him and everything, and him just being a whiny little kid. where the mom is all like, don't worry, I'll let nothing happen to you. Well, she's the first one to be a goner. And so what's odd is like you have like the creepy ranger dude, who even the characters say are creepy and is made for like a slasher movie. He's just strange and creepy and says strange stuff. But he warns them to stay on the trail because like people have gone missing in other families. So this is not a red flag for them and they still camp. Oh, so this episode recycles a lot of characters or a lot of actors and actresses from previous Haunting Hour episodes, which is always a treat to have. But it's funny because I didn't even recognize Jack Jr. Jack Jr. was the nerdy guy Pete from My Sister's a Witch episode. And I'm just like, I think that's his name, Pete. But he was the one talking about badges, man. No, not Pete. Talking about badges, man. It's all about the badges. He was like, the best friend who like, betrayed like, the main character and stuff. I did not recognize him. Michelle Creeber, she was in that Dream Walker or Dream Catcher episode that was really good. I love that Dream Catcher episode. The mom is from like a Mummy episode. I did not like that. The Ranger dude is from like 2 episodes, and the Scarecrow one and something Cowboy something. I did not like those episodes. But anyway, while convening with nature and everything, the mom gets pollen on her jacket sleeve. And so next thing you know, when they go to sleep at night, she's like missing in like the morning or something like that. Or she just later like disappears and they can't find her. So as they're like looking to find her, they just simply can't. And so, wait, when did she go missing? Was it after they went to sleep? I don't remember. But anyway, she went missing. And they can't find her. Then at some point, they find her running in the woods in the faraway distance, Vary's weapons trailer style and everything, like those little kids in the weapons trailer. And so they're trying to like catch up with her, but they can't. And they don't understand why she's running from them and all this other crap. So anyway, at one point, they do camp out at night. And like an idiot, the father like leaves them in the middle of the night in their like tent and like wanders off looking for his wife at night. And it's like, dude, why are you wandering off and your kids are there alone? Shouldn't you protect them and everything? Well, by the next morning, he's gone now. And so it's like, where is he? So as the kids are looking for him, they find him and his face is completely discolored. It's like a yellowish green type color. And he's talking like a mindless zombie and going out the lookout point. So as the kids are like following him and everything, they find him and the mom, and it freaks them out to find out that there is like mushrooms and fungus and all this other stuff growing from their ears. And so then they look around and they start to see these other like statue type people that look like foliage and fungus growing from them. And it's really cool and it's really freaky. And they're all connected to kind of like a hive mind. Well, Melvin realizes that these are cordyceps and that, they're all connected and it like reworks their brain and they're kind of like mutant zombies type things, right? And I was first thinking to myself, how the heck does he know this? Because he just came up with this assumption like really fast, but I forgot. He has a book about nature and he was reading it as he was being paranoid in the early beginnings of the episode. And so like there's like this pollen mist flying through the air, and all of a sudden like the brother starts to the sister she starts to turn and everything. And as she's turning, she's like taunting her twin brother Jack Jr. And so Melvin's all like, yo man, we gotta get the heck out of here. And he's all like, no, and everything, like, we're connected and blah blah. So then he turns and everything. And it's like really cool and freaky because, like, holy crap, Melvin's like the only person left. So he takes off running and stuff as they're all like, join us and everything. So it's kind of like, are they gonna go after him? Are they just gonna stand there and turn into like a tree type thing like the other people? Like, what's going on? So then all of a sudden, Melvin sees the park ranger dude. And the park ranger dude looks completely normal. Melvin looks down at his shoes and gets freaked out. Then the park ranger opens his mouth and all this mist comes out, pollen mist, and it just hits Melvin in the face, infecting him as he screams, and it ends. And I'm all like, no, give us more than just this. I want to see what's going to happen to Melvin. I want to see if he's going to be able to find like a cure, if he's going to be able to find somebody else that can help him, like something, you know what I'm saying? It should have been a two-parter. Also, I don't understand how Melvin knew that the park ranger was the carrier. Because the park ranger looks completely normal and stuff. So I don't know why it affected him completely differently. Also, it's like, the mutant, like, fungus people, are they just gonna stay there, standing there and not move? Or are they gonna like chase after people and try to harm them or infect them or something? I wish things like this was explained a bit better because it's a little confusing because you do see the people who are fully transformed just standing completely still and moving their eyes around. And then, you see like the father and the mother look zombified, like they have no idea what's going on. But then you see the brother and the sister looking evil and everything, like they want to harm somebody. So make up your mind, like what's it gonna be? Especially if they're all connected, why are they all acting differently and stuff? And I don't understand why, like with the females, their face are completely normal, but their eyes turn a different color. And you have like mushrooms growing from their ears, but when it comes to the guys, their face are completely yellow looking and stuff. So it's a bit uneven and a little confusing and stuff. And also, like I said before, if they would have just took out a lot of like the family stuff in the beginning of them interacting with each other and bickering and this and that, and get more to the horror aspect of it, it would, in my opinion, be a heck of a lot better episode and probably a great episode. And even if it wasn't going to be a two-parter, even if we don't know what's going to happen to Melvin afterwards, I would have done it like this. I would have set it up with the family going out to camp and, just a little interaction. Then the mom, just like she does in the early part of the episode, she goes missing and the family is like looking for her. But then what if they find her and they see she's starting to transform and it freaks the family out and they take off running and stuff like that. And then later on, the father could go missing, leaving the kids behind, making it even more scarier because now both parents are gone and both parents are trying to get the kids. And then they stumble upon like Lookout Point to see like, the missing family members and stuff of the other families completely fungified and everything, as the parents are like, join us, as the mist is going through like the air and everything. And then the two older kids get taken, leaving Melvin by himself, only to stumble upon the park ranger. That would have been a heck of a lot better because it would have been more intense, more spooky, more mysterious and stuff like that. Not have a bunch of like family members just talk to each other, then all of a sudden somebody goes missing, more talking, another person goes missing, more talking, only for the big reveal at the end and everything. That wasn't that spooky. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.